Let's try this. Should be able to see my like stream, my live. Hello? Hello? All right. Better? Are we better now? I'm on Streamlabs instead of StreamYard. How we doing now? Okay. Caroline says better. Someone asked me on the one I was on before. You want to borrow my internet? Oh my goodness. Yes, please. Jeez. Ridiculous. You'd think as a content creator I'd have this figured out by now. Well, what's up, people? I haven't been live in a while. I haven't been live on my own in a while. I feel like now everything's like so structured. I used to just come on live and like do nothing. Well, not necessarily do nothing, but like have nothing planned, right? I like that April is commenting, but also is like right there.
I'm just checking to see if your camera looks good.
Does it look good?
Yeah.
I'm looking good. All right, cool. Yeah. 1 month at Microsoft. This. When was the 21st? Monday? No, last week. Oh, so yeah. So last week was 1 month at Microsoft. I don't know. It still hasn't hit me. I think. I think it still hasn't hit me that I actually landed my dream role. Yeah, but now I'm just like preparing my first actual like talks. Like I'm preparing this whole like Azure Functions demo that I'm doing in 2 weeks. Also doing like a overview of serverless Azure serverless services. Um, we're doing that in 2 weeks as well. I got some Blazor stuff coming up, and then starting to plan out like my first actual series. That's cool. Yeah, and then with the move to New York happening, that's gonna be great once it's done. I'm not looking forward to having to pack and move all the stuff and unpack and set up and all that. I'm looking forward to having my own place though. Like as much as I can make this room that I'm in now mine, it's still like there's things in here that aren't necessarily mine, but that have to be in here and that kind of stuff. So just starting with like a blank space. I think that's exciting. But yeah, how's everyone doing? I was good. I was practicing for a talk, the functions demo that I was working on. I was probably gonna do some on here, but with the internet not being too stable, I don't really know if I want to give it a try. I'm also tired. We just recorded the episode number 4 of the Cloud Code Life podcast with Alf and Rishabh. We just did that too, and a day full of meetings, so I'm kind of beat. But yeah. I've sort of been like taking a break from YouTube. Luckily with the channel, it's like still growing. It's at the stage where it's still growing, but without me having to have to do weekly videos. So that's cool. But I miss it. I definitely miss making YouTube videos just for fun kind of thing. Versus now it's more of like the growth mindset. Yeah, but does anyone know any great places to eat in New York? I'd love to hear the recommendations. Hey ZD, haven't spoken to you in a while. Boris, Caroline, the crew's all here. Yeah, I don't know. Ask me cloud questions or life stuff. I don't know. Anything really. The podcasts have been really good. Enjoy them. Yeah, we were talking today also about like how we can up our game. Once I'm actually in the New York apartment, I'm gonna be like a 20-minute bike ride from Antonio, and we're planning to do like actually like in real life kind of stuff. That's gonna be great. Like we'll actually be in the same room and recording stuff. I'm really looking forward to that, and yeah, that's gonna be cool. And actually maybe do some like live coding stuff too, like actually build projects, but in the same room. That's gonna be cool. Because as much as like Zoom and Teams and Streamyard and all that kind of stuff, it's great, but like nothing beats just like hanging out with friends in real life, right? Uh, we miss you, but now we have to watch TikTok and Instagram too. I've been trying to figure out TikTok. I think I did one today, which was like a command line, like a mini command line tutorial. It's doing pretty well. Um, it's interesting to see how like different platforms like respond to different kinds of content. Instagram for me is like I just don't feel like it's worth it. Um, I yeah, I don't know. It's just it doesn't. Like it seems to me like a platform that doesn't really favor anything. It seems like it's dying, right? Whereas TikTok is everyone's on there at the moment. Um, yeah, but I don't know. I like keeping TikTok. Just I mean not TikTok, Instagram for like personal. Like April's on there a lot. On my stories a lot, and like sometimes my dogs will be on there. That kind of stuff. Yeah. I'll be back to frequent uploads on YouTube once I move in. Like, I really want to do more like day in the life kind of stuff. That'll be super sick. Maybe I can do a tour of the New York City, the Microsoft office if they allow me. Of course, I have to ask what I can and can't record, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but more behind the scenes of actual like working in the role. I think that would be really cool to do. I know a lot. There's a couple of colleagues that work that are actually in New York. That'd be cool to like get them um, on a video too. So yeah, who knows? I'm overall excited. Um, yeah, I do miss the content GPS provides, but luckily there's trillions of minutes of content online. Yeah, YouTube is just such an oasis of everything, right? I was looking at the revenue that Google made. This like they reported their earnings or whatever. Apparently, the ad revenue that's made on YouTube is equivalent to how much Netflix makes, which I think is just insane, right? It's like how much content and how much consumption of YouTube there actually is. Obviously, a lot of that is heightened now because of COVID, but yeah, I definitely came in. I definitely started my channel at a good time, I think, and just really happy that it's still growing. Yeah, Instagram is more like life updates. Yeah, definitely. It feels like it's just like that platform that's gonna be stuck for that anyway, right? I'm so tired of Twitter though. I'm I'm yeah. I right now I only like look at notifications and I'll tweet like whatever, but that's it. I'm really not consuming much on Twitter. Yes, day in the life would be amazing. Yeah, that would be cool. I'm excited that I'm trying to buy like a scooter, like a electric scooter to like uh ride around like to and from work. That'll be cool. Maybe I can like strap a GoPro on. 'Cause like when I would ride my motorcycle, I would have a GoPro on my helmet, so I could probably do something similar with the scooter thing. Go get your M1 MacBook fixed by Louis Rossman. He's a cool dude. I've watched a couple of his YouTube videos. Um, I like how he's very passionate about the right to repair, and he's like a super smart guy. Like the way he knows MacBooks like in and out. I'm sorry if you hear the dogs fighting in the background. They the puppy really likes to bother the older one. But anyway, yeah, super knowledgeable guy. I haven't really kept up with this stuff lately. I used to watch his stuff a lot when I worked at the Apple Store, so that was years ago. We would have a lot of very similar rants, or maybe share very similar. Like he would rant about things that I would want to rant about. Yeah. I think it's like eight. Netflix doesn't charge a lot. It does if you watch in 4K. I think it's like 18. Uh. Oh, I see what you're saying, but I think if you think about it in like how much money Netflix is putting into getting content onto their platform versus YouTube, right? Like I don't think YouTube is paying any like content creator out there like millions of dollars to come and like create content, but they will pay ads, right? So yeah, Netflix might be more, I guess, more affordable for the amount of content that you get. But wait, I think I'm comparing two different things here. I'm trying to get to the point where it's like Netflix is massive. Like there's millions and millions of subscribers, and to think of the equivalent money that they make is less than what YouTube makes on ads, that kind of stuff. That's what I'm trying to get at. Cost is relative to your income. Oh, speaking about income, we were talking today about, would you rather work at a place that has a tech stack that is something that you like to work with, but you would take less, like, but it pays less, or something that you don't like to work with that much or not as interested but pays more? That was an interesting question that we had today that we were talking about the podcast. It's like those typical tech Twitter questions. Yeah, I'm watching the dogs play here. I think Netflix is still in the red, actually. Yeah, I think they're in the red because of the amount of money that they pay to get content onto their platform, right? So yeah, they might be making a lot on subs and all that kind of stuff, but it's like it doesn't even out. Yeah. Man, I've missed these casual streams where I just talk about nothing. Oh, y'all. Sometimes I look back, like I remember like streaming maybe, I don't know, 8 months back. And there was like 2-3 people watching. I think I'm very much the same, which is cool. But yeah, how does everyone feel about crypto? I sort of have a little bit of FOMO in terms of like development, not necessarily purchasing crypto, but more like learning to develop you know, like what is it, decentralized DeFi apps and you know, creating apps with blockchain technology and yeah, all that decentralized stuff, right? It's smart contracts and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I sort of have a little bit of FOMO of not learning that, but it's like, also, how can I like keep up with it? Because that space, I feel like it's moving so fast, right? I'm starting my very first internship. That's cool. You want to talk a little bit more about it? I've never done an internship. April's doing an internship now at the moment, and like the people that she's doing it with are really cool. Like they help, like they let her like get on a bunch of projects. Yeah, but I don't really know. I've never really done one. Is anyone gonna jump on the AZ700 beta? That's the networking infrastructure one. Hold on, let's see if I can share a screen, and then we'll add. We'll take a look at it. All right. Hold on a second. Someone did mention this this particular certification to me, so give me a second and I'll pop. I wonder if I could add my screen while I'm actually streaming. Let's see. Bear with me, y'all. I'm gonna figure this out. AZ700, because I'm not on screen display capture. I think this is, I'm in Streamlabs, so it's a little different than. Oh no, I can't. I have to quit. Oh, sorry guys. All right, it'll be for the next time. But anyway, the AZ700 looks like designing and implementing Microsoft Azure networking solutions. Let me take a look at the outline. Where's the outline? Oh, here we go. Sorry. So we got design, implement, and manage site-to-site VPN connections, point-to-site VPN connections, ExpressRoute. Now that's something I've never used. Azure ExpressRoute, private IP addressing for VNets, cross VNet connectivity, Azure Virtual WAN architecture, VNet routing, Azure Load Balancer, Azure Application Gateway, Azure Front Door, Azure Traffic Manager, Azure Virtual Network, firewall deployment, network security groups, WAF. Private link, Azure Private Endpoint. Nice. This looks like a solid certification. I like how they're dialing in and getting very like specific with these certs. If this is funny because I was thinking how at the beginning of the year I made a video about the goals that I wanted to do, and one of the goals was like take a certification, and then now I was like I should probably refresh that video because my goals have completely changed. It was not just one certification. I think it was like 3 certifications I wanted to pass, but I've decided that I don't want to take any this year, but if I did take one, I would probably go for this one because there's a lot of like fun networking stuff in here just from like what I'm looking at the outline. But of course this could change because it's beta, but it's cheaper because it's beta, so it might be worth it. All right. Going back to the question that I asked, I would take less pay to enjoy the job. Personally, have received many pay raises in the last year, thinking it would renew my interest in the job, but I regret not leaving. Money is better, at least. I see what you're saying. That whole question about like, yeah, money over the tech stack. It's like it depends. Like at the beginning, I would definitely have taken like any gig, just because I needed any gig. I wasn't really picky. Also, like people like to dump on legacy stuff, but there's a lot of legacy gigs out there. So like if you think like legacy.net or like legacy Java stuff, there's a lot of really well-paying jobs that support that stack. So it's not like just because you work in like at a place that uses that kind of stuff, like you're not gonna find other gigs. That's not true. This is our equivalent of having a beer with you, hanging out, talking shop and life. Yeah, that's what I like. I like having no structure in these things. Sometimes I do feel like I just ramble though. I think crypto is super interesting for sure. Cardano seems to be making some waves. The thing I don't like about crypto is all the scams, right? I don't know if y'all watch this YouTube channel called CoffeeZilla, but he covers like all the crypto scams. And it's just like one, like why do influencers do that to the people who they follow, or like who follow them? Like you build an audience, these people trust you, and then you pump a coin and then you make money off of it, and then everyone else who's invested into it loses money. But it's like an audience that trusted you. That like super sucks. But it's also like we've had so many examples of these frauds in history. Like we should also like, especially with something like crypto that's like so tech based, like we should be able to educate ourselves and like not fall for that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It's at Ingram Micro Cloud. I'm the only girl in the team cloud infrastructure. Oh, that's cool. I have some experience being the only girl in a cloud team. Luckily my boss was super cool, very supportive, always had my back. We're still cool to this day. We talk often. He's the person who hired me into the sysadmin gig and then promoted me to the cloud engineer gig, and really was just like a huge advocate for my professional development, never held me back and that kind of stuff. But in exchange, I of course worked my butt off and did my absolute best there. So it was a very, very like two-way kind of thing. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna try to like tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. Or I remember once, like I did my first presentation on the first solution that I had built, and it was super simple. Like I think it was using like Logic Apps and Azure Functions, and like Azure Functions like the basics of it. And I remember like someone told me like, and this might not be because I'm a girl. It could have been just because I was new, but maybe new into my career. I remember saying like, oh yeah, this is great, but like for like big like production stuff, it's not ready. It ended up turning into something that like saved the company like 20 hours of work each week, and a lot of money and stuff like that. So haha. But yeah, you get stuff like that. I would just encourage you to not internalize any of it, and stand up for yourself, definitely, in whatever manner you can. Or come talk to me. I'm always open to having these chats. Hey GBS, what's your PC since you gave your Omen? I'm just using my M1 now. I have a Surface Book 3, which I really, really like from work. This thing is super nice. I love the size is great. I like the style. The only thing I do not like about this laptop is the fan. The fan is always on. It kind of reminds me of like the Intel Max, except the difference is it doesn't freeze up like the like my 2018 Mac, like 15-inch MacBook Pro. Um, yeah, that's my work laptop. Yeah, so it's my M1 for my personal stuff, and then my work stuff goes in that one. I do want to build a PC at some point, absolutely. And right now it's all about like prioritizing where my money goes because NY and New York City rent is definitely not cheap. We should like rant about that. I don't know if anyone's from New York, but like it's ridiculous how expensive that rent is. And everyone says like you're not paying to like live, you're not paying for rent, you're paying for the city, and I'm like that's BS. But hey, um, recently found out you found your channel. I'm really excited with the content. By the way, basic question: do I need to know cloud first to learn cloud native tech? I would say a fundamental in cloud computing, fundamental knowledge, is key to like any tech role now. Any maybe not any tech role. Oh, I would say so. Like an entry level, like think of like a fundamental certification level. Understanding of cloud computing is ideal for any gig in tech at the moment. Um, wow, I'm like losing track of all these comments. Gwen, does Microsoft require you to get more certs for your jobs? And not really. No, absolutely not. I kind of just want to get certifications for myself if I ever do, but work doesn't require them. I'm always the only woman. It sucks. Major imposter syndrome and needing to represent all women. Yeah, it's it's yeah, especially of being new into your career. Like right now, like you can't tell me shit. Like I'm sorry, I don't want to curse, but because I know my stuff and I'm very confident in like building the like I guess online presence that I've built. Like I speak up for myself like that, like stuff like that. But I remember like Gwen from like getting started like 6 years ago, or that I was just I'd quiet. I wouldn't speak up. Uh, yeah, it sucked, but like I had to get through it, I guess. But yeah, just know you're never alone. You could always come chat at any time. Moved to PA from Brooklyn a few years ago. I really like Brooklyn. I really do. I checked out a couple of spots, Williamsburg, I believe, Bushwick as well. It still has a like neighborhood vibe. Like you still feel like you're like living around people, whereas like Manhattan is always just like go. Everyone's just like go 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 go. Um, which I guess for where I'm at in my life, it's like a fine fit. But I could easily see myself in a couple of years moving to somewhere like Brooklyn. I think the Surface Book 3 still uses Intel, so that would make sense. Yeah, it does. But it's a solid machine. I think so. I was curious as to if you could actually run some decent games on it, like maybe like a FIFA or something like that. I'm not going to do it, of course, because it's a work laptop, so I don't want to get fired. But I was like going on YouTube, and apparently you can. So it's a pretty decent machine. Greetings from Mexico. Hello, Mexico. I think no, not Korea. Mexico, USA. No. Canada, Mexico plays the semifinal for the Gold Cup, sometime this week. Yeah, but there was the soccer game, USA versus Mexico, like a month ago. That was an intense. You should check the highlights on YouTube if you're a soccer fan. It was like 19 minutes long. It's an intense game. Pretty good. I'm a big fan of soccer. I was going to ask you what your thoughts were on Windows 11 and Windows 365 that are coming up, but I'm guessing you haven't played around with any beta versions, so never mind. No, I haven't, really. Which is why I was excited to get the Surface, because it's Windows and I could load Windows 11 on there and give it a try. But then again, if it's my work laptop, I kind of want to have a stable operating system on there. Yeah, I guess in terms of Windows, like what excites me the most is just the improvements to WSL. and embracing Linux, that kind of stuff. I really think that if that gets perfected and continues to be improved and such like that, I Windows is going to be like such a great dev operating system. I already think it is, but like yeah, WSL is so cool. Uh, let's see. Is there really any entry level jobs for cloud? That's a great question. I don't have the perfect answer to that. Are you gonna find gigs that say cloud in them as entry level? I don't know. Are you gonna find gigs that are in tech that might give you exposure to cloud in the responsibilities? I think so. Yeah. Like at my help desk gig, which was I guess my first official tech gig, there was people who were working on cloud stuff, and whenever I had finished my help desk stuff, they would let me like watch and like hang out with them. So that was some exposure to cloud. And yeah, it all depends on like what your current like job market is and all that stuff. And now with like remote being more of a thing, you have like more options to locations and stuff like that. But is there really an entry level cloud? Is entry level cloud a thing? I can't say yes or no. It highly depends. But even like think of like a role, like a software dev role in one company is different than another company. A cloud engineer is different and different. Like an entry level cloud engineer might be a thing somewhere, and then another company would be like, no, we would never need that. So yeah, I can't really provide the best answer there. She knows everything about Windows 11. She built it. That's why she's been away from YouTube. Oh gosh, that's funny. Um, let's see. Is it me or does Windows 11 sound like MS got a leak and they were like, let's announce it now? It looks nice, but not as much as an improvement. I've heard that comment. Like it should have been more of like an incremental update to Windows 10 versus like a whole like number thing. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on it. Good evening. Any gigs in Fiverr after completing AZ900 course, or please suggest a course which will help in starting? That's I don't really understand the question. I don't really think you can get like cloud gigs after AZ900. And again, like you need to move away from like the certification equals job kind of mindset. Certification equals education. Actually landing a job is like a lot more than just like you know what kind of stuff. Um yeah. Oh, I like the chats like answering like a bunch of these questions. What are your thoughts on paid tutors to learn cloud computing? Um that is a great question because I get people who ask me like, "Hey, would you mentor me? I'm willing to pay you." And I always say no because I think your learning style is so specific to you, and there are so many like you can buy a course out there for like I don't know, example $25 on Udemy, and you can go at it at your pace. You can take it apart. You can take look up certain terms that you don't understand, or go like fly by terms and concepts that you do understand well and you don't need to go. Um, yeah, I think if you spend a good amount of time like trying different videos and trying different books and different like documentation and written tutorials and all those sort of like mediums, and you still can't find something that works for you, it might be something you could look into. It might be worth it, but I would say just be very careful with people who would like promise you like something like, oh, I'll pay you, oh, you pay me like I don't know $30 for the session or like an hour study session, and then you might not get anything out of it. Like just careful like for scams and stuff like that. I don't think I've heard of any cloud tutors at all. Like I don't have personal recommendations or anything like that. Um, Tired of doing cloud operation roles due to underpay, trying to learn some programming, getting into DevOps space. Do you think that this is the right trajectory? Um, Cloud operations due to underpay. I mean, I'd like to know a little bit more of like the roles that you've been doing, just because cloud is where it's at now is a very lucrative space to be. Might be one of the from what I've seen, might be one of like the higher paying ones. Um, but again, it depends on the role too. So I'm curious as to why it's underpaid. But SRE slash DevOps is a very high demand at the moment. I won't say slash DevOps because they're two entirely different careers, entirely different skill sets. So yeah, I mean, I guess the most important thing is to make sure it's something that you're interested in, because like if you do the career switch, you might end up having to go like maybe a level lower than what you actually are, and may have to take like a pay cut or something like that, and to sustain like I guess the stress and the pressure that comes with that. You have to make sure you're interested in it, right? Hello. Do you work from home, and did you ever pass your Linux exam? I passed my Linux Essentials exam. I do work from home, yes, right now. Once I move to the city, I'll probably be doing more of a hybrid kind of thing, as long as it's safe and as long as there's established guidelines and that kind of stuff. But I very much miss working at an office. I really want to have like a 3-day at office, 2-day at home kind of thing. That's like ideal for me. I really, really love the structure that an office offers me. That's my personal opinion. I'm not here to say if it's better for everyone or not. But personally, I really like having I wake up, do my thing, go to work, and then I come back and I can sort of leave my work mindset at work, right? And just like that work-life balance is easier for me when I have an office. Do you use Terraform and Ansible in your day-to-day job? No, I do not. So I have 20 years experience in IT, the last 5 in management. Really want to move over to cloud completely. However, is it your opinion I will take a pay cut as I would be considered new in cloud? I mean, I don't think that's specific to cloud though. Like whenever you do like a move across disciplines, like you can expect a pay cut. I would say so, unless you. Yeah, I think you could. Again, the jobs are like just so. It's so hard to have like some standard, because like I was saying before, a cloud engineer here is different than a cloud engineer there. That kind of stuff. Yeah, but yeah, that moving disciplines is always a tricky one. Have you ever heard of a Scrum Master? Yeah, the person who leads the scrums. We used to have one there was one at my previous gig. It's a position that public offers in their tech department. Yeah, I'm aware. They have to like know, since they're like driving the scrums, they have to be in the know of like everything that's going on, kind of. A very high level though. Just a funny name. Just a funny job name, Scrum Master. Yeah. Hello, fellow Floridian in the chat. What's up, Florida? Scrum Master is an agile role, not uncommon. Very sure. I mean, very sure. Very true. How's Microsoft going for you? Can you talk about what you do for them? Maybe you did once and I just missed it. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm a cloud advocate. My job is specifically I'm a regional cloud advocate. So and the regional aspect of it is specifically New York City. So my goal is to sort of be like every region has like tech that they're interested in. So like let's think like San Francisco, they're very in, I guess that area, maybe California in general, they're very into like VR and AR and that kind of stuff. And then New York City being such like a finance focused place, it might be more like data, big data and that kind of stuff, right? So my goal as a regional cloud advocate is to, bring not only like events, I guess it's like centered around events, because events, when you think about events, it's like, online content or in-person content that will not only like benefit like what New York wants, but also like that's beneficial for myself to present in. Yeah, and just like any kind of any Microsoft like related thing, really. Like so, I'll prep demos on stuff that will. Let's use, for example, like I'm prepping a demo for Azure Functions. Like it'll be it's centered around something that I think would be very applicable to the New York market, that kind of stuff. And the cool thing about like my specific role is I'll be working with the reactors. Microsoft reactors are like physical locations where we can host like physical events, and I'm really looking forward to like really tapping into the community and seeing if we can host more like third party events there, and you know, if maybe like study groups and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm like in between like engineering and like the community, sort of advocating for the people but also bringing like anything that engineering wants to like highlight, I guess. So like think of like the content that I make, like these YouTube tutorials, kind of similar in a way. I don't know, that may or may not be a good description. um, what tools what tools do you use mostly for automation at work? Yeah, so with my advocacy role now at Microsoft, I don't really do much cloud engineering as I used to, right? It's it changes, like depends on what I'm building. Like right now it's not something that I use every single day, right? But if I had to like use something for automation, I'll use like my previous experience as an example. It was a lot of PowerShell at the beginning for a brief time, and then it went into Azure Functions to automate like stuff, and that was .NET. Uh, why would a why would a grocery store need a cloud architect if they utilize resources through Azure? Does that mean that Publix is looking into building their own cloud platform? No, I think they're just looking how to properly build their solutions inside of like their cloud infrastructure inside of Azure. All companies need cloud, no need for local infrastructure, easy management, close to resources. Yes. Hi, I'm a cloud engineer. Could you please let me know the general difference between OAuth, OData application server packages? I have no idea. You could probably Google it. Cloud architects architect the infrastructure deployed in the cloud regardless of the provider. Yeah, they want to make sure stuff is built correctly, so they have architects for that. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I got confused by distracted by a text. Yeah, architects are usually like probably like the highest paid roles in any technical gig, I would say, because they have years and years of experience. I'm trying to think. Maybe security. Maybe security related gigs pay better or pay more. I think maybe. Oh, I feel like I just talked for like hours. This is why I like having a co-host, but at the same time I miss just being on my own sometimes. But it's nice to just get a break from just being the only one talking. Alright, I probably have to get back to building this demo thing. They're asking for about 8 years of XP and pay 6 figs. Like what's around 6 figures? Because 6 figures is like of I think for like cloud gigs, 6 figures is pretty accessible. With a couple of years experience, is it like over 200K? Like what? Most people don't understand how much IT exists in companies. Business intelligence basic. Yeah, so I like to think of it like every business is an IT business, right? Whatever, to some extent, right? Because there's always some sort of technical aspect to every single, like, you think of like I used to work at a healthcare clinic, and as much as we might think it's not a tech business, they had a help desk, they had a whole tech inventory system, they had there's phone systems, there's printer systems, like all that kind of stuff, right? 180K for a solutions architect with 8 years of experience? That seems low. I guess it depends on the area that you're in. That's I don't know, but that seems kind of low, in my opinion. But again, there's a lot of stuff factoring in there. There could be like extreme, like a signing bonus. There could be a lot of, what's this? Stocks. Maybe there's a lot of that for signing up. My dog's looking at me. Yeah, some of these, like on TikTok, it's like there's like a lot of people who like share their salaries on there, which I find interesting. But yeah, I think I came across someone was talking about their solutions architect, and they were talking about their salary, and I'm like, whoa, that's insane. Which is why I know that they make a lot of money. Any free cloud certification courses in Azure? I did AZ 900 using Slick Deals. Go to Microsoft Learn and just do the whole learning path for AZ 900. It's free. It's text, not a video, but I love text stuff. I prefer text stuff over video. It's kind of funny. I'll be doing some kind of CBT checking invoices and seeing they still use physical computers, and I think, why not just utilize VMs? A lot of the, like I was saying before, like a lot of the legacy stuff, it's like they have a lot invested in that kind of infrastructure, and if it still works, like, why change it? What I hate jobs is that jobs are like, we will pay you 180K, but 80 of that is a bonus based on the company performance, so you're merely making 100K. That's dumb. I don't like those sneaky kind of gigs. 80K of that is a bonus based on the company performance. That in South Australia, cloud architects range from 160 to 210K. That's a good range right there. I don't know how expensive it is to live there, right? It depends. Because, like, for example, for what I'm making in Connecticut, it's really good, but like once I move into New York, it's probably still be good, but it's like, it doesn't, like, your money doesn't go as far as it would somewhere else, right? So you can say like $100,000 in San Francisco is like nothing, but like you go to, like, I don't know, some smaller state in like the Midwest or something like that, that'll get you like really, really far, right? Yeah, but I don't like that. 80K is based on the performance of the company. That's BS. I know a lot of startups are like that. I was interviewing for this CI/CD company that I won't name before I landed the gig with Microsoft, and they were like, yeah, it was 100. I think the offer was like 114, and then like there was a huge chunk on top of that was going to be based on like performance and stuff like that, but they were trying to pitch it as like it was almost like a 200K job, but it really wasn't. And I was like, that's Aussie dollars. Housing is expensive. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with I from my previous gig, I have colleagues that live in Melbourne and Sydney, and I know they would tell me it was pretty expensive, but outside of that, I'm not too familiar. Yolanda says, hi everyone. Hi, how are you doing? I've been live for quite a bit now. Oh no, only 40 minutes. We'll do another 15 minutes. Then I gotta go play. Does anyone play FIFA or 2K on PlayStation 5? If you do, let me know so I can add you, and then we could play. I've been ending my nights playing those games. I'm a big fan of just like turn everything off, play a video game, then go to bed. I can't break through to interviews at Microsoft. What made you get the interview? So I was recommended by two people. I applied for for one gig and the Azure Functions team last year in March, and I got a recommendation from someone who was a PM on that team, and I didn't make it to anything. They saw my resume and stuff like that, but I didn't make it to any interviews. And then I applied to another gig. I think it was a content developer gig at the beginning of this year, and I also was rejected but I didn't get a recommendation for that. And then for this gig that I got now, I was recommended by 2 people. And yeah, that helped me get at least like my first interview, and like I interview well. Like I've practiced those skills quite often. So I knew like all I needed was like a chance to get an interview, and I would do well. So that's how I did that. I think your best bet is to meet network people. Like social media is great for that. Like the people who like recommended me to the gig are people who I have known for almost a year now, and I was initially introduced to one of them like when I was just starting out, like making content on Azure. So this was like in 2019. And they're just someone I've been friendly with and had back and forths, and they were always very supportive. And the other person was someone who I did a couple of live streams last year for Serverless September. I didn't really go into like relationships or friendships with these people with the intent of getting something out of them. We really just became, acquaintances, and especially with the person that I did Serverless September streams with, like we both like video games, we both like music, so there's a lot of stuff that we would talk outside of tech. And then when this gig like appeared, they were able to recommend me just because they knew what I was about. Yeah, so networking on social media is great, and like putting yourself out there has worked wonders for myself. Sports game or bleh? What? Come on. I love sports games. You know why? Because it's something that I can just like turn on in the middle. Like I'll take a break from work, turn on, like I'll play a match in 2K, and then it's like a nice little break. I don't have to like get invested into any story or anything like that. I still root for Gwen nailing those Hazy 303 measles study notes. Yeah, those. You know what the issue was with the certification stuff is like with certification content, it's so easy for you to get labeled as the certification person, right? And then you just have to kind of like your audience starts to build around that, and that's like what you are. Like I never wanted that to be my issue, so that's mainly why I stopped it. And I kind of just want my channel to be like I'm a person in tech. That's kind of it, right? I don't want to be like pegged with a certification person thing. So, but rest assured that if I do take another certification, I will have great videos on it. But I don't think it'll be anytime soon. Do you think your YouTube channel has helped your understanding of cloud computing, kind of like my students teach me more than I teach them? I would say yes, because I think a staple of the content that I have made on YouTube has been, to keep it concise and like no fluff. And I wouldn't necessarily consider, like if you think of like all like the Azure Functions content or any like demo content that had like code in it, I wouldn't consider it and most of it like beginner level. I think it was like a solid like intermediate level, and creating content around that doesn't have too much fluff and that's not too long where you're like rambling but not too short where it's too high level is quite challenging. So it was really up to me to like sort of learn and then relearn and make sure I actually know what I'm talking about, and I can actually do these things so I can record them. So yeah, it's been a huge benefit to have the channel, and it's made me learn more thorough. So yeah, I'm definitely happy that I have one. I'm gonna build Lego after that. I'm updating the background for my YouTube videos with Legos. I'm here from the Twitter article. What Twitter article? I don't know what Twitter article that is. Where do I even start in cloud? That's always my problem. I don't know where to start. The FBI just commented. All right. So if you're a complete beginner, but you have some sort of technical background, I guess maybe if you're aware of tech, go to my GitHub. Go to github.com/made-by-GPS, and in there you're gonna find a self-taught cloud computing guide, and that sort of outlines the path that I would have taken to learn cloud in 6 months. And there's things like Linux administration and some networking concepts in there. There's stuff like learning scripting or some coding or some programming, and it's learning a cloud platform and learning some DevOps practices. I think those are the 4 pillars of gaining a solid understanding in cloud computing. And that's on my GitHub. If you are a complete beginner, I can't remember if we covered this in one of our podcast episodes. We might have. I would also recommend subscribing to our podcast. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the episodes list to see if this is something that we've spoken on. There's the first episode of our podcast is if we started all over again, and sort of like just reflecting on how we got into the cloud space. So there might be some tips in there too. An entry-level certification, if you're completely new to tech, is also a great first step. It's very high level, but it's also very like a bunch of topics there that will give you a solid foundation. And then after you do that, I think you can dive into something like my self-taught cloud computing guide. So those are my tips for complete beginners. Hey, your videos helped me a lot last year when I was finishing college looking for a path. Didn't end up working in cloud, but I just wanted to say thank you. Aw, you're welcome. That's great to hear. I'm curious to know what did you end up working in, or what do you do now, and why you didn't, I guess, end up in cloud. Yeah, let me know if you want to. Cool hat. Who makes the most paper in cloud? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know the finances, like the difference there. Everyone, I think all 3 of them reported their earnings this week. So, it was a fantastic quarter for Microsoft. That's all I can say. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I do well, so that's good. Did I miss anything? Oh, Alf's here. Hey, Alf. I was gonna do some live coding. Are y'all interested in live? Here's a good question. What kind of technical content are y'all interested in? Because now that I'm sort of like shaping the stuff that I'm doing for my gig, I still have some creative freedom to bring on topics that I can work on, and I can like create live streams and live coding stuff around. So I'm curious to hear what y'all want to know more about. I can also do like stuff on this channel too that aren't too attached to Azure or Microsoft products, but my general interest are Microsoft products too. So like if you tell me like, hey, I want JavaScript demos, I'm gonna tell you to go to Antonio's channel, because that's just not my cup of tea. There's like this bug in here that won't leave. It's getting kind of late, y'all. Oh, I'm excited. Tomorrow I'm getting a swag box, but I don't know from who. I just know it is a box that has swag in it. Should I unbox it live? That might be a little cool thing to do live. Age, yes. Can you speak on learning as you're applying to jobs for your first cloud role? For example, I'm learning Linux and Python, trying to get hands-on projects to speak on. I'm learning Linux, Python. Thoughts on this? Can you speak on learning as you're applying to jobs for your... So, the way I would handle it if I was trying to build a skill set that was actually relevant to roles is I would pick a role that I'm interested in, grab the description, and then grab the tech stack that they're looking at, and then I would do projects with those. Um, or you could do like more of the general. I think the Linux slash Python, you can't go wrong with that combo, right? Because every like cloud is Linux, right? And Python is the most popular programming option out there when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I don't think you can go wrong with that. Really, I think you seem to have like a solid and then you also mentioned that you're getting hands-on projects to speak on. That's important. I think also when it comes to entry level gigs, more than like the stuff that you know, being able to speak confidently, um, and about like what you've built and describe what you've built, even if it's something small. Um, like the Cloud Resume Challenge is a fantastic project for that because you build everything in it and then you can speak to every single part of the infrastructure. Also being able to speak like how to like what you would do if there's like some sort of error that you run into, that kind of stuff. um I think that is like your go-to. I wish people mimicked a task you would actually run into a job, like migration or debugging cloud issues. I'm trying to think how I can. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. It's like it's kind of hard. The migration thing is a little hard. Uh, but yeah, cause like the thing with like those topics is like they're so specialized. Like no like so specific. Um, but I think. All right, I have an idea. All right, I'll keep that in mind though. I work for Amazon in the fresh facilities, but I'm trying to transition to Amazon AWS. I've seen your journey and I'm interested in any help for a newbie. I appreciate it. What's the title of the GitHub? So github.com/made by GPS, and then you'll find my self-taught guide there. Newbies. In terms of learning, stick to one cloud. I know people try to push the multi-cloud narrative, the AWS versus Azure versus GCP narrative, the whole learn two clouds at once. No, stick to one, learn it well, learn your fundamentals, build projects, be able to speak on them, keep up to date with stuff, be enthusiastic about things, right? Landing my first gig, I wasn't only like talking about like the things like that I could actually work on. I was also like reading books about like cloud or like tech in general, and listening to podcasts and stuff like that. So you could tell I was eager to just work on this kind of stuff, right? And when you're new, you're not only like what you can do, but also like just being eager to work hard is what they want. So, uh, yeah, just keep that in mind. Being a well-rounded person is very important. Don't forget that when it comes to like landing jobs, because at the end of the day, who you have to impress, who like another person, right? So in terms of like getting the gig, right? I want to know about controlling costs in the cloud. So if I build up a test on my own cloud account, how do I limit costs? You can't really limit costs. You can set up budgets and alerts. What I used to do was like if I knew my limit was, I don't know, $100, I would set alerts from like $25 up, because the data isn't in real time either. Sometimes it could be up to 24 hours delayed. So you're looking at like, oh, I passed $25 today, but the day you actually get the alert, it's like $30, something like that, right? So you have to like be careful with your alerts and your budgets and stuff like that. She made a video about that. I think, yeah, I made how like set up alerts and like very simple. Yeah, cost management is a whole like wild. It's like the Wild West for me. Like I know the basics, and it's something that everyone should do for every single project that they create in the cloud. But there's some people who really can dial down to like here you spent like this dollar here and that kind of stuff for that. Like quite detailed. You're welcome. I ended up working in a financial technology, just another area of interest. We do have a cloud product on the rise, so I may try to get more involved. Still love cloud. That's awesome. Congrats. Good job on you. Hard work pays off, absolutely. And you always staying curious, learning a lot. I have yet to try Python on my day to day, using mostly Bash these days. But do you know why Python is suited for cloud? Is it because of the vast number of libraries? Exactly. Though I will say Bash is like the universal language. When you think of, you spin up a server, it's almost guaranteed that Bash will be something that you can use right without having to install anything, right? Typically Python you'll have to install like the latest version, or like .NET you'll have to install like stuff like, but Bash will be there available. So let's not like underestimate the power of knowing Bash. Yeah, I think Python, because of its popularity, it's like, you have more community content, libraries, SDKs, all that kind of stuff available around it. Um, yeah, because of that, and also it's like a pretty easy language to pick up, especially if you're familiar already with a different programming language. And it's just like you can do like so many things. Like you do backend, you can do scripting, you can do web dev. Like you use a framework like Django, or I think, what's the other one? Flask. Is Flask Python? I think Flask is Python. Flask Python. I think Flask is Flask like the more like the lightweight version, not the lightweight version of Django, but more of a lightweight version, right? You know what I was reminded today of? I think it's Drupal, the PHP one. Drupal, yeah, I was reminded of that today. Not that I've ever done any work about it, but I've heard about it. I'm curious if we have any PHP devs. Yes, no. That kind of loops into like the legacy stuff. Like people will say like, oh no, PHP, like, but I'm sure there's plenty of jobs out there that still require PHP. Sorry, I'm having trouble finding the lesson. Can you post the link, pretty please? Oh, the GitHub link. Yeah, let me get it. GitHub.com / made by GPS. Let me pull it up. You know what I should do? I should probably make a custom domain that goes straight to that I know there's a, oh, here we go. Let me paste it in here. I think it'll work if I put it in here. It says sign into chat. What do you mean sign into chat? Hold on a second. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Boom. Did you get it? Okay, cool. I think it just popped up now. I need to, yeah, I need to make like a shorter domain for that. All right, it's there. All right, y'all. I'm gonna end the night with some FIFA, so I'm gonna log off here. This was fun. I've missed doing these solo streams where we just talk about nothing. But yeah, you gotta stay up to. Make sure to, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hit the like button. I don't know, whatever YouTubers have to say. I'm talk to y'all soon.